Hey there, hi there, hello there. I'm glad to see you all here.
So we just watched Land of Lost. And one of the
you
things
did?
I was curious about.
Did you recognize me?
I watched that show first. I didn't realize that was you.
Uh-huh.
But my understanding is the played one of the Bakuni.
Yes, I did. I played Saw.
Yes, they actually created a language, so that there's an
Yes.
actual language for the community.
Yes, they created a special language for us to communicate with. I don't remember it anymore, but it was a whole big Megillah. Yeah, they went to was it UCLA, I think, and that was a whole project for them.
So you had to memorize all these lines in this
Yes, we
language.
did, in a strange language. Yes, yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about how your career started, and especially about how you became a Mousketeer?
Wow. Well, I was born in Seattle, Washington. I started dancing when I was 3, and I won a Little Miss Washington State contest, and went to California to compete for Little Miss USA. I came in runner-up, but my parents fell in love with the weather in California because Seattle was too rainy for him. So we moved to California. But when I was in Seattle, I used to perform for the soldiers and sailors at the Fort Lewis and Fort Lawton. Worked with the ink spots. Then anyway, we came to California, and my dancing teacher recommended a dancing teacher to go to in California. And so he asked me if I would like to work on TV. And I don't know if any of you know who Eddie Cantor was. There was a show called the Colgate Comedy Hour, which was live from beginning to end, even the commercials. So anyway, I went out and auditioned. They wanted 2 girls and 2 boys to dance on this sketch. I was too small. Isn't that a surprise? But they liked my dancing, so they wrote a special little part for me afterwards. And after the show aired, Eddie Cantor's attorneys called my folks and said he wanted to sign me under contract. So I was his protege. He insured my legs for $50,000 with Lloyd's of London. And so I stayed with him, appearing on Colgate Comedy Hour until he had a heart attack. And then his contractual bindings no longer were taking place. So then I did a movie with Mitzi Gaynor, Bloodhounds on Broadway. I did a lot of live shows, TV shows, Burns and Allen, Joan Davis, Red Skelton, Shower of Stars, Donald O'Connor, Here Comes Donald. And then I was going to do a movie with Dean Martin and Jerry Lewis called Artists and Models. And in those days, we had to go to Capitol Records to pre-record the song that we were going to do. And while I was there, Jimmy Dodd was doing a recording session, because he wrote most of the songs that we did on the Mickey Mouse Club, he and his wife, Ruthie, lovely lady. And anyway, he saw me there and recommended me to Disney Studios. So I went to Disney Studios and auditioned and got the job. So that's how I got to Disney.
And then another role that I had no idea that you did until I came to your table, I was amazed. You were Frodo in the animated Lord of the Rings.
Yes, before they did the live action. We filmed it, I was in Spain for about 3 weeks, in a town called Monte del Cuervo. And Ralph Bakshi liked the shape of my face, the chin. I don't know, does that look like Frodo to you? To me. But anyway, we wore all white, and we would film it, and then he would animate over, and in a process that they called rotoscope, but we called it Frodoscope. But it was interesting because they hired local people to play the extra weirdos in the movie. And they would come early in the morning and they'd have those, they called boga bags, filled with wine in their leather bags, and they'd be drinking those all day long. Very happy, those extras.
If anyone has any questions, just raise your hand. I'll be happy to call on. Yes?
In Land of the Lost, which we just saw, did it hurt your back to walk all scrunched over like that?
Well, no, fortunately I was a dancer, so, you know, and Philip, you know, the play Chakra, he was black belt, so same thing with him, you know, we had muscular legs.
I was also delighted to see you had pictures from Rat Boys, Underbox.
Yes.
How long did it take to do the makeup for that?
It took 3 hours to have the makeup done, 2 hours to take it off. We worked for 10 hours. Rick Baker did the makeup, and I had a mouthpiece that had a button inside my mouth that with my tongue, if I push it, the nose would go up and down like a rat. So that was quite interesting. We did that for 11 weeks. Clint Eastwood's production company, and Sandra Locke was the director. That's when they were together. Clint Eastwood would come in, you can't see what I looked like, it was very glamorous. And all of a sudden, you know, that sexy voice that he had would say, "Is your dance card full?"
So, Sandra spoke at my friend's film class and showed Rat Boy. What was it like working with her as a director? She seemed like a very nice person when she spoke.
Very nice, sweet, gentle, and soft-spoken, but she knew exactly what she wanted and what she was doing. So she was very knowledgeable.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, I looked up to her in more ways than one.
Yes, sir.
You worked with a lot of great personalities on the Kroft show. We were briefly talking about this earlier. Charles Nelson Riley, Rip Taylor, and Billy Hayes. Tell us about that.
And Martha Ray. Which one do you want to hear about? All of Rip Taylor was a blast. He was so funny. Actually, the studio burnt down when we were doing Sigmund and the Sea Monsters. And I don't know if you know what he looked like. He was solid green with a green face and a green hair and flippers, you know, on his feet. And the studio burnt down. We all had to evacuate within 3 minutes. The whole building exploded. And so he was staying in a hotel that was close to the studio. He's running down the main boulevard dressed like this, and he goes up to the front desk to get his key, and the guy behind the desk said, "Are you coming or going?" And he just was a doll. Martha Ray was a lot of fun to work with. She made you part of her family. I'd be at home, the phone would ring, and there were 3 of us that were her flunkies in the show. She would say, "I'm at this certain restaurant, and come join us." I'd say, "Well, I'm sorry, I can't come, I'm busy right now." And she said, "No, I'm staying here until you get here." So we all had to go join her. I mean, she considered us part of her family. She was really fun to work with. Charles Nelson Riley was not as, what's the word I want to say? He didn't join in with the rest of us like the others did, but I could tell he had a good comedic mind. But he didn't study the dialogue like the others did.
And then how did you get involved in working with Sidband Marty Kroft?
Well, it's very funny, isn't it, that I worked for Disney Brothers. One was creative and one was the business person. And then I moved on to the Kroft Brothers, one creative and one the business person. Well, let's see. Once I got married, I had a nightclub act with my ex-husband. And in those days, guys were called a cat. And we had a nightclub act called Two Cats and a Mouse. And we played Vegas, and things started getting a little tight, so I went to work as a secretary at Blue Cross. And I'm sitting at my desk one day, and my phone rings, and it's Sid Kroft. And he said he was interested in talking to me about coming and wearing a costume, Shirley Pufnstuf, who was a character based on Shirley Temple. So I said, sure. So I went in, and the rest is history. I was Shirley Pufnstuf and Stupid Bat, and Funky Rat, and Raunchy Rabbit, and a lot of glamorous roles. And I saw Sid Kroft 2 months ago at the Hollywood Convention in Burbank. They did the 50-year reunion of Land of the Lost, and they invited everyone who was a part of it to come. And Sid Kroft was there. And Sid is 94 years old and just sharp as can be. And all that creation came out of that one little head, you know? It's amazing. Every show that we did came from Sid.
Did anyone watch Newsreel Review?
Hoo-hoo-hoo! I was Charlie the Owl. And the funny thing is, that was way after I did shows for the Krofts. That wasn't a Kroft show. And I found out recently that the Kroft company made the costume of Charlie the Owl. Isn't that something? Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool.
Yes, sir.
Sharon, you did a Western series called Death Valley Days.
Ooh, that's way back when.
Yeah. What do you remember about your experiences working on that series?
As I recall, I think, boy, it's... I was Lotta Crabtree. I think it was the life of Lotta Crabtree, and I played her as a little girl. I remember petting a horse and having to sing, but they just showed your face singing as they're doing description. Do you know what I mean? Okay? Is it making sense to you? Because it doesn't make sense to me. No, it's where they show in what you're seeing is you're actually singing it, but you don't hear it. They're telling a story. That's what I remember of Death Valley Days.
Yes.
Do you still have contact with any of the other Mousketeers? Or
I
did
sure
you?
do. We're like a family. And of course, I miss Annette still to this day. My very best friend back then. Yes, when I went to the 50th anniversary of Land of the Lost, when I was through the convention, I had dinner with Bobby and his wife and Tommy and his wife after the convention was over. We're really good friends. There were probably 33 people who were ever Mousketeers. There were 9 of us that were there from the very beginning to the very end. those 9, there's still Cubby, Bobby, Tommy, Lonnie, Darlene, and myself. So, the boys are doing better than the girls, huh?
I thought it was great that they ran the Mousketeers reruns for so many
Uh-huh.
years. Because I remember the first time I saw it, and I ran in to tell my mother about it. And then she was giving me the list of the Mousketeers. I'm like, how do you know this show? Because I didn't realize at the time, of course, this went on. But that was so great. Because so many generations of people got to grow up on it. You know, there's been other iterations of the Mousketeers, but this is the classic version. So.
Oh, thank you.
So me? So I wanted to know, out of everything that the Mousketeers did on the show, because every day it was a different theme. You had like the public music day, the guest day, the anything day, and so on and so forth. Out of all of that, which day was your favorite day?
Fun with music. Because we got to sing and dance, and I love dancing. So, and you also got to wear funny, different costumes, from different countries. So, that's why I wanted to do the Mickey Mouse Club, because I could sing and dance every day. But Monday was Fun with Music, Tuesday was Guest Star Day, Wednesday was Anything Can Happen Day, Thursday was Circus Day, and Friday was Talent Roundup. Nothing for Saturday and Sunday.
And we have time for one more question. Yes, sir.
Sharon, good morning. You've been with, I guess, in so many different things. Is there somebody that makes you starstruck when you got to meet them?
When you're a kid, they're just real people, because you haven't heard of them. But someone who I developed a great admiration for and respect for, that I thought was underrated, was Donald O'Connor. He had such a beautiful singing voice. He could dance up a storm. He was so nice and down to earth. Very talented. I did his nightclub act in Las Vegas, and at one point he grabbed me and danced. He had a way of looking. He went up the wall and did a flip, and it looked like I flipped him. He was just amazing. I really adored him. And someone else I wanted to be just like, Mitzi Gaynor, because I did Bloodhounds on Broadway with her, and she was so sweet and energetic, and I thought, I just want to be like her someday. And to this day, she was president of the Dancers Society, which is no longer in existence, but she kept in contact with me. She's just a lovely, lovely person.
And I believe Ron and Ursula have a special presentation for you.
They do? What did I do now?
John. Ursula, right here, has some homemade chocolates where they're made by a local factory for you.
Nice.
From one of our vendors.
Yeah.
And we appreciate so much, Sharon, that you could come and share your stories with us. This has just been wonderful. Sharon Baird. Thank you, John Bishop and Sharon Baird at Mousketeers. Coming up in just a few minutes, we're going to have Elizabeth Shepard doing a dramatic reading of Tomb of Lygia from Edgar Allan Poe. So you want to hang on to that?